Evil Purple. My name is Daniel Vallis from InformedChristians.com, a website ministry devoted to discerning current events from a Christian and biblical perspective. This is a warning, but it is not a prediction. I do not know the future. In our last video, we talked about the true purple and the biblical pattern and shadows that it lays down and that we have been looking at, and how that ties in with prophecy and how we are looking for him to return the second time in the shadow pattern of his first time. And we find that we are very short on time with that. And we are at a time when we must lift up our heads, for our redemption draweth very nigh. We have heard the trumpet calls at midnight, so therefore we must rise up and be ready. Now, a lot more could be said about these patterns, but just looking back at the biblical pattern, the Bible tells us that there are different types of celestial bodies and celestial flesh and terrestrial bodies and terrestrial flesh, and how their flesh is different. There are angelic beings and there are earthly beings, us humans, but the Bible also tells us that the angels can appear as humans sometimes and be around us, and we could be completely unaware of that there's any difference. They can appear completely in human form. And so they are celestial, but taking on the form of the terrestrial. And we also talked about Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the Son of David, the Son of Man, who was both heavenly and earthly, and the combination of the two, and also royalty. And the Lamb is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He is the true king. He is the true purple. But even more than the true purple, he is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He is the royal blue. He is the heavenly. And he is often associated in the Bible with sapphire. So he is even more so than purple. He is the King of Kings, the royal blue. And the Bible also tells us about the serpent who came and tempted Eve, took on the form of a serpent. Genesis 3:15. God is talking to the serpent in the Garden of Eden. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Here in one verse, God boiled down and gave a nutshell of prophecy in the history of the world. It's going to be divided into the mystery of iniquity and the mystery of Christ. The working of Christ and the mystery and working of iniquity. And it's a battle between Satan's seed, his offspring even, his genetic seed, and the seed of the woman, who we know as Jesus Christ. But we must notice that God directly mentions that Satan has seed. And this is just a few verses after he talks about the fruit trees, how they will bring forth after their seed and like kind and everything. So he's just finished the whole context of seed, and now he says to Satan, your seed will battle her seed. Satan does have genetic offspring. We don't know all the ins and outs of how that happens, but the Bible does acknowledge that Satan does have seed. And the days of Noah was all about the fallen angels coming down and interbreeding with mankind to form the giants and Satan's offspring, Satan's seed. And his plan was to corrupt the genetic material. But Noah was found perfect in his generations. His genetic genealogy was perfect, and that's why he was saved, him and his family. It wasn't corrupted. And in addition to that, he was righteous. So he was chosen to be saved and to restart the world population. Satan's seed, that which is sown by the wicked one, is referred to as tares. They are unredeemable. You cannot redeem them. The pre-flood generations of Satan's seed were killed off in the flood. And that's what is commemorated at Halloween and the Days of the Dead, which incidentally falls right at the commemorative time of Noah's Ark, the dates mentioned in Scripture. And one day Satan is going to avenge all his children who were killed. That's the whole concept behind the Avengers. They're going to have a resurgence and take revenge for what happened to his children. And if you remember, the sign that God gave to Noah was the rainbow. And that was his promise that he would never flood the entire earth again. That was a promise. But Satan has hijacked the rainbow and uses it for his symbol of pride and rebellion, knowing that God will not flood the earth again. He will still judge, but Satan uses that and holds it up in his face mockingly, knowing God will not flood the whole earth again. And Satan is going to take revenge for the flood. So it's interesting, the day that Prince died, a rainbow appeared over Prince's studio. Now it's very easy to manipulate the weather and clouds and rain and everything, so I think this was an engineered event. But it's very interesting how they hold this up, the rainbow, whenever they are mocking God. And we've seen that with the White House being lit up with the rainbow colors in other instances as well. They will hold it up in God's face. The day that they announce purple, the day that they announce that their king is almost here, that their king is about to make their grand entrance, they have a rainbow at the same event because they're using it to mock God. The Bible tells us that the last days will be as the days of Noah, and the same things that were going on before the flood are going to be happening in the very last days, including the tribulation time period, when Satan's seed makes a resurgence and comes close to wiping out the genetic line that God created. And Daniel was given a vision of the statue representing the 5 different empires, and the final empire was going to be one of iron mingled with clay. Daniel 2:43. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. During the final kingdom on earth will be a mingling of the seed of men, iron mixed with clay. And we must understand this and keep this in the back of our mind when we try to look at Scripture and understand the prophetic events, because a lot of people take a very secular approach and a very mild approach to prophecy. But when we look at what does the Bible say, the mystery of iniquity is very wicked. Satan is trying to destroy creation. Everything that God created, the man and woman, and even beyond that, humanity as a whole. Satan wants to replace humanity with his own line of creatures. A corrupted creature. And Daniel was told this was going to be one of the main points and identifiable points of the last kingdom, is this was going to be defining it. So when we look at the enemy pattern, we already know from the Bible that the 8th king is going to be a beast. The Bible definitely makes that clear. The 8th king is going to be a beast. He's going to be a mingling of celestial flesh and terrestrial flesh. And the Bible also tells us, though, that he is the 7th king. He is of the 7th king. So he's going to have the identity of the 7th king, but he's going to be a beast version of him. We talk about this in our video, The Antichrist Returns. And we also talk about the genetic behind that and how even the Nazis were greatly obsessed with genetics and genetic lines and lineage and trying to recreate the Ubermensch, the fallen angel gods, the demigods, the half-man, half-angel. They had a big interest in returning to that. And some of their top scientists, Mengele, were definitely known for cloning and working with genetics. And they had the technology even then, and know-how and ability. We talk about all that in the video. But that is the core behind the end times, is using Satan's seed, using celestial flesh seed to mingle that with the terrestrial flesh and to create a new generation of creatures to replace humanity, do away with humanity. And that appears to be heavily involved with the mark of the beast because it's tied with worship of the beast. When one worships the beast and rejects the King of Kings and Lord of Lords and instead says that they have no king but Caesar, and they turn to this beastly king and worship him, part of that worship and taking that mark appears strongly to be taking genetic material in some form to alter existing DNA, to transform and become beast-like, to become sons of Satan. You know, as Christians, when we accept Christ, we become sons of God. Well, Satan has his own counterpart. He's going to make sons of Satan, tamper with their DNA and their genetics by a very blatant rebellious choice to make them unredeemable. And this is the crux behind the staff of Hermes that we talked about, intertwining the DNA, the celestial and the terrestrial, to create their version of purple, a blending of the two. And goes back to the Garden of Eden when Satan told Eve, "Ye shall be as God." I can open up your eyes. I can illuminate you. I can take you to new spiritual levels. I can give you abilities that you don't have. That's what he's going to be pushing at the same time. The same lie from the very beginning of creation. Ye shall be as gods. I will take you to a whole new level. And that idea is seen a lot in Freemasonry and the occult of ascending to a higher level, and evolution, going to a new spiritual plane, a new dimension, in combination with a lot more too, but that's the whole idea of ascension and evolution. Now the medical term for this is RNA recombination. You can take an existing creature, and with the addition and working of the RNA combination technique, it basically reprograms your DNA and reworks the genetic material in a creature that's already there. It doesn't have to be born as a new creature. It just takes an existing creature and turns it into a new creature. We talk about that in the Antichrist Returns video. And this is the crux of what we talked about just a few days ago with the trailer that they are putting out. They've been conditioning mankind for a long time for this idea of evolution, going to the next level. And they're even blatantly showing the idea that it involves messing with DNA. We've talked about this before. And creating new creatures, freaks, really. And that's what they push in all these shows about the demigods and these people with superpowers and mutants and everything to make it appealing to be other than what God created. Satan is wanting to create his own race of beings that are unredeemable, mutants, freaks, beasts. And he'll use a lot of conditioning. Someone pointed this one out today. Despicable Me had that exact same thing. Purple. Turning the minions into purple. Turning them into beasts. They start with normal minions seated in purple chairs in purple environment. They make sure you can associate the bananas, the phallic symbol, with what's about to happen. And then they introduce the purple, which would be the seed, the sperm. And they're making sure you visually connect the two ideas together. And that is injected using RNA technology into the minion to rework its DNA and create a new creature from the inside out. And you'll see this conditioning in a lot of media because this is what they're getting the world ready for. To be upgraded, to worship the beast, to become a beast, to become like him. And it ties in with a lot of other themes that they've been laying down. Having your seed, having your genetic material mingled. And that's what the Bible says. That's even the phrase that the Bible uses. They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. And this is why those who take the mark of the beast are unredeemable. Because they have chosen to become the sons of Satan. And it's irreversible. And this is also the concept behind purple rain, is viewing the sperm and seed of Satan in a literal sense. And often in the occult, they like to use rain as a picture of the seed falling. And sometimes the witches will have different dances under the full moon when it's raining to symbolize the seed falling on them and also on Mother Earth and all that. They use it as a picture and pattern of purple rain, the seed coming from the celestial to the terrestrial, purple rain. And this is the whole concept behind the maypole, which is coming up in a few days as well. And that's not accidental because we are at this time when a lot of shadows and patterns are coming together and Satan knows that. But the maypole, all about fertility and the phallus symbol and the intertwining of the seed of the celestial and the terrestrial. People often wonder why the occult is so fascinated with sex and body parts and all that stuff. Because they know it's directly tied to the seed of Satan. And throughout the Bible, false idols, Astaroth, that was a blatant phallic symbol. It's all about the mystery of iniquity and spreading the seed of Satan. And the work of Satan to eventually create his own race and do away with the human race. We talked about the concept of the two pillars, and that's what they often use them to reference to as well, the DNA helix, the double helix, and they also use it in a distorted reference to Samson, knocking down the two pillars. Because what they want to do is knock down the two pillars, merge them to create one pillar. And you see that with the World Trade Centers, they knocked down two twin towers and rebuilt one merged tower, one World Trade Center. And that is their whole goal. To knock down the pillars, the existing structure, the existing order in this world, the existing race in this world, so to speak, and create a new race out of it. But that's going to entail the elimination of the human race, the terrestrial race, to create his own terrestrial race, which is going to be beasts. And so this is why during the tribulation period, they are avenging the flood and trying to destroy humanity. But the Bible tells us the days will be cut short, just short of him doing that though. But that is going to be one of his main goals, to eliminate humanity and replace it with his own race of beasts during that time. With the whole goal of the mystery of iniquity being the purple rain. To rain during that time to avenge Noah's flood, to build his own race, to destroy humanity, and to seize control of the world. That is the whole goal, to use the technology of purple rain to bring in his purple rain. And that is why the world is so excited all of a sudden about purple rain and why you see all these major announcements. because they are announcing that their king is about to come onto the scene. Up until this point, they've been promoting the red and blue, the red and blue, the red and blue. But now all of a sudden, right after the arch went up, 2 days after the arch went up, right after they symbolically made the triumphal entry, now they have announced purple. Purple is coming. Purple is coming. The purple rain is coming down. The purple rain is about to start. On April 22nd at the UN, we are in a race against time, says Ban as leaders sign landmark Paris Climate Accord. With their signatures of the landmark Paris Climate Accord, governments made a covenant with the future. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said at the end of the United Nations ceremony that saw the largest single-day turnout for such an event. Notice how they're using the phraseology, covenant with the future. Why are they laying that out? Because this event right here, on April 22nd, was a dress rehearsal for when the 8th king comes onto the scene and makes a covenant with many. This is a dress rehearsal that they just had a few days ago. When I look out at the horizon, I see more clearly than ever the outlines of a new and better world, the UN chief said. Yeah, they know it's any day now. They just had the dress rehearsal. Everyone knows what to do now. They're just waiting for the 8th king to show up. Today you are signing a new covenant with the future, he said. The covenant must amount to more than promises, Mr. Ban stressed, and find expression in actions taken today on behalf of the current generation and all future generations. They keep throwing the word covenant out there. Covenant, covenant, covenant. This is a dress rehearsal. It's not the covenant, but it's real close. It's a dress rehearsal. Our covenant is with them, he said. They know what the Bible says. They know what time it is, too. That's why they are ready. Today's event coincides with International Mother Earth Day. The day that they signed this ceremony on April 22nd, according to the UN website here, they said it's International Mother Earth Day. Keep that in your pocket. We'll get back to that. Never in the history of the United Nations has it been possible to bring together 170 countries to sign an agreement all together on one day, he noted, emphasizing that there is no turning back now. Of course not. They're ready. The stage is set. The curtain is rising. The dress rehearsal is over now. They know there is no turning back. Leonardo DiCaprio, who is the ambassador for peace, he got up and said, an upheaval and massive change is required now, one that leads to a new collective consciousness, a new collective evolution of the human race, inspired and enabled by a sense of urgency from all of you, he said. An upheaval and massive change is required. Yeah, they know. They're getting ready to destroy the entire order of things and bring in a new purple rain. And they are ready. They are ready. Going back to International Mother Earth Day. I've never heard of it called that. But why do they call that International Mother Earth Day? Well, they have a whole page for International Mother Earth Day. And isn't this picture telling? A rainbow. Rain. A wheat field right after harvest. A woman with an umbrella with purple facing us. That's obviously a photoshopped photo. On International Mother Earth Day, they are symbolically showing purple rain right after a harvest on the UN website. They know exactly what this picture means. And they are ready. The General Assembly, recognizing that Mother Earth is a common expression for the planet Earth in a number of countries and regions, which reflects the interdependence that exists among human beings, other living species, and the planet we all inhabit, and noting that Earth Day is observed each year in many countries, decided to designate 22nd April as International Mother Earth Day in 2009 with resolution whatever. Mother Earth Day, raining down on Mother Earth from the celestial, with a rainbow there, mocking God. Do you know what time it is? The UN knows what time it is. They know they're ready. They had their dress rehearsal. They're announcing the king's coming. Purple is coming. Purple is coming. And they are all ready. The very next day, on the 23rd, a Tom Hanks film came out called A Hologram for the King. Of course, we've been looking at all the references to King and Jupiter and Leo and the princes and Prince and all of that. Because Satan is using every channel he can to push out the message and the announcement, purple, the king is coming. And of course, this film was put out by Lionsgate. And guess how the trailer starts out? Big surprise. Flying over water. And then they show downtown with animated money flying around. And this is a time reference because time is money. Your money represents time. When you give someone money, you are giving them a part of your time, part of your life in a sense. Time is money. So they've just flown over the water. Now they're flying down through time again, time and money. Then they act out a parable of Lot and Sodom. They show Tom Hanks' character apparently walking past this house, and his car turns into purple smoke. It disappears in a puff of smoke. Then his house disappears in a puff of purple smoke. Then his wife disappears in a puff of purple smoke. Remember Christ's warning to his disciples? Remember Lot's wife? If you live for this life, you will lose everything. It will all disappear in a puff of smoke. So then they show him flying over to Saudi Arabia. Sand represents time, as in an hourglass, and so we see here acted out, time flies. And then he's talking on the phone to his dad, apparently, and his dad makes the comment that it sounds like you're on the moon, which is, of course, a reference to Tom Hanks' Apollo 13. There's even visual clues in the scene to reinforce that this is a message about a king, Apollo, the Sun King. The very next scene, he's opening up an illuminated gateway and doorway as he's talking about being on the moon, a reference to Apollo 13. They're illustrating and acting out that Apollo is about to step through the door, and they know that. So then they next show doors being closed. A golden gate door, by the way. The bride that is not ready will find just a closed door. Now, it's interesting, the context of this film takes place in Saudi Arabia, which is known for its extreme religious policing, very Islamic culture there. So this scene, which takes place supposedly outside of a hotel in Saudi Arabia, should catch attention just by its severe no-no in that culture. A whole urn covered with naked figures, and then also a very prominent horned figure, a reference to Pan and Cernunnos, pandemonium. They've already put out messages of that, pandemonium and mayhem coming. So now they put this out right at the announcement of Apollo as well. And in this culture, this would be a no-no, so they're calling your attention to it. And of course, they show two figures going underwater again, going to another dimension. And that's what they use for the title thing, just like the peculiar trailer we saw just the other day. A hologram for the king. They know Apollo is about to step through the gate. That's why they're putting out all these announcements about purple all of a sudden, because they know it's happening any day now. This was the big message of the halftime show and the commercial that led up to it. They are expecting purple, the king, to come through the gate. They've been getting Satan's disciples ready for a long time. And now it should catch our attention that they are announcing this is the time for purple. And they are making sure you can definitely tell. On social media, on the news, in the newspapers, driving it home ad nauseum, purple, Prince, some of the highest institutions in the world, NASA and the United Nations and other people are all talking about purple and the Prince and Apollo, their king. We talked about the Independence Day trailer just a few days ago, and their big push and emphasis on, hello, the phallic symbol, the womb symbol, the female symbol, because it's a picture of the fertility rites and everything that goes with the whole mystery of iniquity. And especially this time of the year between April 19th and May 1st, which is heavily steeped in fertility and sex rituals with the occult, because this is what they're commemorating. And that also goes to the events at Trafalgar Square, which they highlighted in the exact same trailer. They know this is the time, the result of all the mystery of iniquity, working for this time to bring in Apollo. Now, one part of that trailer that we didn't cover before, they show an underground prison, apparently. Different cubicles where supposedly they're holding different aliens, which look like demons, by the way, and they're monitoring them. And all of a sudden, all the aliens start making screeching noises and a lot of noise and ruckus all of a sudden. And so one lady asks, why are they screaming all of a sudden? And this other scientist character who supposedly understands them, he says they're not screaming, they're celebrating. They're celebrating because they know what's coming. And that's a veiled message. And notice his knit, twisted scarf that he's wearing. That's what they're celebrating with purple. It's time for purple. These announcements of purple going out on the mainstream media and the social media and news and all that, it's not mourning the death of the prince. They're celebrating. They're celebrating that there's about to be a resurgence and to avenge Noah's flood. The stage is set. The curtain is rising, They are ready. And someone reminded me today that the same announcement was made on January 1st when they had the crystal ball at Times Square with the huge theme of purple. They know full well what time it is, that we are out of time. Their whole stage was set up with purple. There's 4 columns there, but it's all themed with purple with the blatant banner, the judgment-free stage. Might as well have had a rainbow up there. They know there's not going to be a flood. They know they're going to be unrestrained soon, and there won't be another flood this time. There are many people out in the crowd wearing purple hats with the exact same message, judgment-free. Purple. That is the message they were pushing at Times Square to all of Satan's disciples that were watching. Judgment-free time is about to come. Purple is about to come. The purple 8th king is about to come. Of course, it was held at Times Square. Huge references to time, and even the stage was set up right next to a large animated sign of the Lion King. We talked about the Lion King with the massive banner right there next to Times Square on the other side. And they're drawing attention to their Lion King. And the very last song sung before the turn on the clock was John Lennon's Imagine. And we talked about this before. Imagine, which was sung at the 2012 Olympics, was now sung here. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. And no religion, too. And the world will live as one. That is their anthem. No king but Caesar. And it's no coincidence the resemblance between John Lennon's Imagine record cover and the theming for Rosemary's Baby either. Because that is what they're doing. Getting ready to give birth to a whole bunch of Rosemary's Babies. And it's no coincidence that today, on April 25th, is National DNA Day. Celebrating the day that the research was first announced about DNA, the double helix structure. National DNA Day today. Right in this time frame of all these patterns and shadows. They know what time it is. They've known for a long time what the time frame was going to be. That's why at the 2012 Olympics, it was all lit up with purple. That's what they were celebrating. That's what they were commemorating. That's what they were acting out. That's why they had the maypole. That's why they played Nimrod. That's why they celebrated the Phoenix. And this was acted out again at Trafalgar Square with their triumphal entry, announcing the same concepts that their king is about to make his triumphal entry as well. They've served a legal notice to the church that time is pretty much up. You better get ready or you're going to be left behind. The UN knows what time it is. NASA knows what time it is. All the mainstream media knows what time it is. Do you know what time it is? Which king will you be found serving? The King of Kings and Lord of Lords? Or Caesar? Matthew 24:44. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh. We are out of time. It's time to wake up. Lift up your heads, for our redemption draweth nigh. Keep your eyes on things of eternity, and serve Christ, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords above all else. Maranatha.